Well, hello, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and I'm going to do your February the 22nd just for today in a meditation. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Okay, still recovering. So thank you for being patient with me. Let's go ahead and get into this meditation. It is entitled God's Will or Mine. We continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Step 10. In Narcotics Anonymous, we have found that the more we live in harmony with our higher power's will for us, the greater the harmony in our lives. We use the 10th step to help us maintain that harmony. On a daily basis, we take time to look at our behavior. Some of us measure each action with a very simple question: God's will or mine? In many cases, we find that our actions have been in tune with our higher power's will for us, and we in turn have been in tune with the world around us. In some cases, however, we will discover inconsistencies between our behavior and our values. We've been acting on our own will, not God's, and the result has been dissonance in our lives. When we discover such inconsistencies, we admit we've been wrong and take corrective action. With greater awareness of what we believe God's will for us to be in such situations, we are less likely to repeat those actions. And we are more likely to live in greater concord with our higher power's will for us and with the world around us. Just for today, I wish to live in harmony with my world. Today, I will examine my actions, asking God's will or mine. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change and the courage to change the things that we can. This meditation is talking about step 10, and it's talking about how there are times that we move out of God's will and into our own will. And sometimes the line between the two can be so fine that we barely notice as we gravitate back over into our own will. Usually, from my own personal experience, when I am aware that I have moved into my own will, generally speaking, the damage has already been done. I don't go around second guessing my intentions, my motives. Generally speaking, they line up with the God of my understanding's will. I have enough of a relationship with my higher power that my higher power's will for me has become my true will. And I, generally speaking, flow along that very well. However, there are times where there's this dissonance. There's this disconnect, in other words, between my behavior and my values. A lot of the times, what I find out is that I've become emotionally too involved or enmeshed with a situation, and I am no longer emotionally clean. I've gotten myself wrapped up in something that, for the most part, really wasn't even my problem. And I find myself acting in a manner that doesn't really truly reflect my values. Whether it be that I'm so angry, I'm giving a person the what's for under no uncertain terms, telling them exactly what I need them to know in a manner that is not okay. Oh, maybe what I'm saying is okay. I mean, the sense of it, right? The principle behind it may be okay, but the way that I'm going about it is not okay. And there are times, if I'm being completely 100% honest, in that moment, in the acting out, in the behavior, I get this sense of awareness that I'm about to go too far. But because of pride, I don't back away from it. My mind, a little negative thought back there that says, you've come this far, you might as well go all the way and deal with whatever happens after that. But there is truly like this moment in the situation where I become cognizant of the fact that I could have gone a different route. And almost instantly after the situation is completed, I know that I am not going to be able to have peace or get any rest with this situation because I have not gone about it the right way. It's so much better to operate from the point of power, right? When I say power, I'm not talking about powerlessness over the disease of addiction. I'm talking about the right to choose how I act in any given situation, the right to choose how I respond in any given situation, the right to decide if I'm going to be a participant in this nonsense or not. It's so much better to, at the onset, at the beginning of it, to have a clear focus and a clear mind so that as I proceed through this muddy water, I have an understanding of what is my responsibility versus what is the next person. Now, we always say hindsight is 2020, right? It's like there's even a more perfect vision than 2020. I don't know if you know that, but there is, right? But we always say hindsight is 2020. Sure, after you've already gotten into the mess and acted out, you look back on it and you see all of the wonderful spiritual ways you could have responded that would have worked with God's will and your true will. But no, pride is in there. And now my behavior does not add up. There's this dissonance, disconnect with my own values. Less known the values or spiritual principles that my higher power would have me to have. So at the onset, it is better for you to ask yourself this one question in this meditation: God's will or mine? And to sit in that and really grab a hold of the answer before you act, before you speak, before you agree to do something, before you refuse to do something. Because truly, that level of self-awareness lends itself towards having a much easier go of the day. Your personal inventory, your step 10 is less murky. There's less for you to correct. But now I want to move into this next point. I want to talk about when your behavior and your core values don't add up and you've already messed up and you've allowed pride to convince you that you needed to do whatever you did. And here you are now being eaten away inside about how things transpired. This is where the basic text tells us that we need not lose faith when we become what? Rebellious. Because if you make a decision that you are too prideful, that the point needed to be made, and that you are not paddling backwards to correct it, you're going to have some rough road, some rough terrain ahead of you. I don't want that for you at all. What I really want for you to do, if you find this yourself in this awkward but common situation of knowing that you've messed up, I want for you to challenge yourself to correct that error as soon as possible. See, when we were wrong, we promptly admitted it. So here's the thing. You know you spoke to that person the wrong way. You know that you could have handled that a lot better. There is more meaning in you taking care of it right now. There's more value in you going back and saying, you know what, I want to talk to you about our conversation yesterday. I want to talk to you about that because I know in my heart what I was trying to say, the essence of what I was trying to say. I still believe in the principle that was at stake, but I'm totally not okay with how I talked, the way that I presented it to you. I had way too much anger, totally frustrated, dogmatic, my way or the highway. And I don't like being treated like that. And I definitely don't think I have a right to go around treating other people like that. And I want to make sure that you know that I am aware that I went about that the wrong way. I'm very sorry. My pride just got in the way. And I want to know if you will accept my apology. And you sit there and you wait for them to ask you all of the questions they might want to ask, or for them to tell you, I'm so tired of you and your attitude. You know I forgive you, but I am just sick of your attitude. You need to think before you speak. Whatever they need to say to you, you sit there and you take it. You take it like a grown, recovering individual. You know why? Because we know to do better. We know to do better. And hopefully you will receive the grace from them to continue to move forward in your relationship with them. Hopefully. Because when you're able to say my pride was at stake, I just didn't want to admit that you were right and I was wrong. You're starting to look at the exact nature in any given situation in your step 10. And you can handle that sooner rather than later. And you will find that your relationships will develop more trust. They will know that even though you have a strong spirit, a strong personality, they will know that you're not, one, not afraid to speak your mind to them, but two, most important, that there's a level of humility and honesty within you that you are able to admit when you are wrong. You know, I know a lot of people that I've never heard them say, I'm sorry. I've never heard them say, I handled that the wrong way. And it makes me sad because I'm a pretty forgiving individual, but I take note when people take ownership for their behavior and when they don't. It tells you about the character of an individual, how well developed and how mature they are. Now, don't you want to be that individual that has grown in recovery and has become a mature individual where you don't shrink back from doing a step 10 and taking responsibility for your actions and asking, is this God's will or mine? And if it comes out on the side of your will, leave it. But if it comes out on the side of God's will, roll with it. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you, and I will be talking to you tomorrow.